Quake 2. Originally released in 1997, you play as the completely memorable and unforgettable John Bitterman. You and your fellow Marines are dropped via orbital drop pods to kill some bad dudes. Who are they? Don't worry about it. As you head to the planet, your drop pod is clipped by another, and you lose control of your craft, forcing you off course and sparing you the brunt of the trap laid by the enemy. Your entire force is killed or captured as they land, and you are left alone behind enemy lines with nothing but a flare gun in your hand. It's not like this intro video to the game could have done more to clue you in on what was going on and what you were about to do. But then again, this is an id Software game. It's expected that you know you will only shoot at everything you see and keep running around collecting power-ups and ammo. On second thought, this game was released originally as a boxed game, with an ancient item known as an instruction manual. It's possible the entire story of the game is written in one of those things. The devs are the same guys known for writing such amazing stories as the official Doom novelizations and the amazing story to Quake 1 featuring the Lovecraftian mythological entity
Shub-Niggurath,
which has nothing to do with Quake 2. Why is it a sequel? Shut up and I'll tell you. Turns out all these bad guys are cybernetically enhanced aliens. Ah, the 90s. When the biggest fear pop media had was that the technological advance of the Industrial Revolution that has gradually taken over more and more of our lives would eventually consume our bodies as well. As the last survivor of your failed assault force, it's up to you to do everything like a true goddamn hero. Establish communications with your leaders to figure out what to do next. Accidentally activate your environmental protection suit power-up every time you want to interact with a button or switch, because you're so used to modern games requiring button prompts to interact with anything instead of just bumping it with your forehead. Pick up a double-barrel shotgun, only this time it's the future, so it's extra boxy, and for some reason it almost looks like a bullpup, but that wouldn't make any sense. Also, it's a pump action for extra, I seem to be getting a text message from, oh hey boss. Okay, I need to get some power cores. That seems easy enough. Just need to navigate these hallways and survive these ambushes. At the time, a big deal in the game was the visible damage enemies showed from getting attacked, and the number of animations available for their many deaths. In the time before ragdoll physics were introduced to video games, this seemed like a really big deal. Sometimes a grunt will attempt to draw their weapon to shoot one last time in their death throes. Sometimes they do a flip and land on their face. Other times, they just fall over flat on their back. Either way, you can keep shooting their body repeatedly as they're dying, and turn them right into chunks of red polygons. Is the game any good? When this game came out, my computer was unable to run the game at better than 20 frames per second, and I wasn't amazed by anything going on in the first couple of levels. If you're like the handful of other players coming back to it because you heard about RTX On, I'm reminded of the fact that the game has a weird look to it, like every texture has been sanded with sandpaper and is covered with a fine white dust. The main storytelling device of the game is an on-screen PDA that can be activated and gives you mission objectives. It isn't a very compelling storytelling device, and when I first played the game, I never understood what the flashing icon at the bottom of the screen even meant. The removal of end-of-level stats in favor of area transitions was a departure from the previous games. It might have assisted with the game if it had a rich story, but without strong narrative inclusion in the gameplay, it kind of fell flat. You could bumble your way through levels, explode walls, hit switches because that's all you could do, and never even need to think about why you did what you just did. Power-ups are included in the game, much like in previous id Software games, but are provided as consumable items and introduces a level of inventory management and planning that wasn't a consideration in the previous games. Doom and even Quake had power-ups that dictated the type of area you were about to involve yourself in. If you saw quad damage in the middle of a big open room with little cover, that's an obvious arena fight. Get ready. Environmental suits conveniently near large pools of toxic waste? Get ready to go running around at breakneck speed trying to find secrets, or figure out a path through some toxic tunnels. These power-ups broke up the flow of game from combat and exploration. Quake 2 mixes these far more. The fact that you have a quad damage power-up in your inventory means you end up not knowing exactly when you're quote-unquote meant to use the power-up to maximize its effectiveness. Two big enemies giving you trouble? Maybe then. But the next room's a boss fight. Damn, I wish I didn't use it just now. Complaints about the game stem mainly from the worse netcode from Quake 1, and the fact that the game's weapons felt worse or were different. I know I never really returned to the game because by the time I and my friends were able to play the game on decent computers, newer, better games had already been released. To this day, the game stands as a relic of the transitionary time in first-person shooters from time attack-style levels with arcade-like controls, movement, and shooting, to the connected, slower-paced shooters with an emphasis on in-game storytelling that followed. A heavily modified version of the Quake 2 engine famously powered Half-Life in 1998, a game that revolutionized first-person shooters as a whole as a genre.